Hello, and welcome to Alcohol-Free Radio. I'm your host, Chris Becker, and I'm excited to have you join us. Whether you are new to the amazing and growing alcohol-free community or someone who is already familiar, we hope you enjoy our program. This is where you can hear from some people making a real difference, whether as brewers or producers of amazing beverages, influencers in the community, authors, storytellers, and more. We aim to break it down and bring it all together. Our goal is simple: to build awareness about this great community and to help make alcohol-free fun, easy, and tasting great. So here we go. Enjoy. Hi, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Alcohol-Free Radio. I am interviewing in a few minutes that you will hear Nicole Hough, who was able to come to our showroom and studio here in Madison, Connecticut, and we talk a bit about her background in the industry, how she got involved, her role as an influencer in the space, and some of the people she's gotten to meet along the way. And I will save for the episode what she's got coming after that. So hope you enjoy. Hi everybody, it's Chris Becker, and welcome to this episode of Alcohol Free Radio. I have a live guest for this show, so I'm excited to introduce Nicole Hough. We've known each other for a while, and she has been making her way and growing in her influence in the space, meeting folks as the space itself has grown. So we are going to hear more about her story and what got her into the area of alcohol-free and better-for-you beverages. And I am looking forward to you getting into the conversation. So welcome.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Yeah, you've come all the way from the New York City area. Tell us where you're from and how you got into the space.
Yes. Well, hi everyone. I'm Nicole Hough. I just drove up here from New Jersey, and I've been wanting to come up for a while and see what you have here. So I'm excited to see it.
Okay.
And your shop and your operations.
Yeah, so you came, we did the tour,
Yes.
saw the Solution Center and met some of the team. But you have been experimenting. I know I've seen some of your work in terms of what you've done online with cocktails and mocktails and interviewing, and you're also a pretty accomplished chef since when we first met, I guess 6 or 9 months ago. So tell us a bit about what you did before this. How did you get into this? Some of the things you've been trying and what you've been learning along the way.
Sure. So we'll start from where we are now, which is that we just launched After magazine, which is an alcohol-free lifestyle magazine. Our first issue went to the printer this past Tuesday.
That's super exciting.
So we're
Stay close to the mic.
Thank you. Okay. We're super excited about that, and it will be out December 1st. So it's been I'd say it's been an 8-month path to the magazine specifically, but then a couple of years of building my own sobriety, my own influence in the space before that. So yeah, in 2020, I was doing some cooking live streams that you alluded to. And it was, I had a whole other career in design, but I had always wanted to teach cooking. And I had dabbled in it along the way. And during the pandemic, I was like, this is the moment to do this. I had free time, and I bought a camera and I bought all the equipment and learned how to do it. And I ended up doing 37 weeks of live stream cooking on Facebook. And then during that time was when I also gave up drinking. Okay. Partly because of the live streams.
Most people started drinking during the pandemic.
Right. Gave it up. I did. I went back and forth for a while. I say I was sober curious for about 9 months before that. And then doing these live streams, it was so labor intensive and such a huge learning curve that I thought it's really one or the other. I can't be tired and I can't be doing this. And it was really important to me. So that eventually, as I learned more about this industry and got really excited and passionate about it, that the cooking morphed into mocktail videos.
Okay.
That I was doing on Instagram.
Now, where did that start? How did you go? So I know you were so curious or whatever. Where did you learn? Like for me, it was like, wow, there was a light bulb moment where these great products, these great drinks, this whole category even existed. Was there a similar kind of point in time for you? Like, how did you stumble across this in the first place?
That's a good question. Yeah, I did not know that this existed when I decided to give up alcohol. And I think I discovered sort of one product that I liked. My main goal was that I didn't want to drink juice. I didn't want to drink, and I don't think I'm alone in that. I think a lot of people come to it that way. I didn't want to have apple juice or like a child's drink. I wanted to still feel sophisticated and like I'm enjoying, like food and beverage is so important to me. I think it's such an important part of life,
Yeah.
you know, and enjoying yourself. So that was my goal. And I found a few products and came up with a few recipes, and just once I got on Instagram, started to meet more and more people and realized that there was all of this out here. And that was really where then the idea for the magazine came. I thought, if I didn't know that this was out here, there must be a lot of other people who could benefit from it who also don't know that this is out here. So it became, I felt like it needed to become more than just about me and my mocktails. It needed to become a way to reach people who might need this.
That's no small accomplishment in terms of even, you know, getting your first issue to print, but there's a lot of work that obviously gets you to that point. How do you embark on an endeavor like that? Like, what have been some of the biggest challenges and also some of the biggest maybe surprises, good and bad, along the way?
Right. It has been, I can't even pinpoint one challenge in this moment. Maybe I'll think of one, but like every step of the way has been a learning curve for me. You know, I feel like I know the food and drink, I know design, I know pieces of it, but I mean, the first thing I did was Google how do you start a magazine. And that was in March. I think that was March of this year. And I just had a mission to create something, and not specifically a magazine, because I feel that having a tangible thing to hold in your hand helps to get the message out there. You know, if it's digital, you have to know to look for it. And if it's on your friend's coffee table, you might see it and say like, oh, what's this? And pique someone's interest that way. So I started out, but my first thought was, okay, if I had to, I could write 40 pages between March and December, you know, but I didn't have to. People came out of the woodwork, writers, influencers, beverage producers, people in the space, wanting to share their stories, wanting to share their talents as writers, you know, advertisers, all sorts of people.
And how did you start to sift through some of those in terms of where to start? So different writers, different producers who wanted to participate, or maybe had something to say, knowing that you hadn't come out with your first issue yet. Like, what's the theme, the focus, knowing that it's, you know, there's lots of ways you could go. Like, how did you decide which path to take?
It's sort of, it's a good question. It sort of formed over time. So our first issue, and I can tell you some of the articles, we have our, first of all, our best of 2022 survey that we ran, which was huge. I'm so glad we did that. We ended up having 250 responses and over 350 different brands and names and ideas that were mentioned in the responses. So we sifted through that, and that sort of gave us a direction.
So you'll be sharing some of that in the first issue?
Yes. Cool. So all of the results of that survey will be in the first issue. And it's fairly general, this one. We're talking about the temperance movement and the revival of the temperance movement, sort of, and that's growing in this right now. We did a history as part one, and we're doing current day in the next issue. We had 3 recipes that are about braising without wine.
What's braising?
So braising, so like slow cooking. If you make short ribs, the process of breaking them down in the liquid, which usually includes wine. I always like to bring food into everything.
Well, you know, in fact, I've had that conversation with some of the food writers about, and one in particular was kind of saying that kind of innovation, cooking where wine is part of the cooking process, but using alcohol-free wine.
Exactly. So it has been interesting. We have a great chef who helped me with those recipes, and then Ian Blessing from All the Bitter, who was a top sommelier, he did some wine pairings, so alcohol-free wine pairings for each recipe. So
that's one of my hacks. We talked about it on one of the episodes. I take all the bitters.
And put it in the wine.
That
seems, I haven't done it, but people talk about that it enhances if the wines are not as much depth of flavor, that helps to do it.
Gives you a little something.
That's smart. So he's doing a pairing for each one. The braising is interesting though, because the alcohol does cook off. But if you are really truly avoiding alcohol, you don't want to open a bottle of wine and pour the whole thing into your food. So we'll continue that. We're calling it Alcohol-Free Cooking School.
That's so cool.
And so we have that. And our spring issue is already coming together too. So we had overflow of articles that are going into the spring, and that one has more of a nature outdoorsy kind of feeling to it that's
Makes
come
sense.
together. Yeah.
And the writers, are they coming, are they from the industry, or are they folks that are writing about other topics where this is something that's of interest to them, or?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
Yeah. Some are producers in the industry, some are writers, most of whom are also sober or who have found themselves evaluating their relationship with alcohol.
Okay.
Yeah, I've met them. I met her at Spirited Away, a woman
One of the
was
writers?
a writer who was a writer for Smithsonian. And
Okay,
she
so
interviewed
Spirited Away,
me
the store,
for that, yes.
the retail alcohol-free store in New York City? Okay.
Right, just happened to. There's been a lot of serendipity. I feel you run into people. They're a writer. It's just it has come together.
And what's
in an
the
interesting
cover?
Way.
Is it like?
It's the most beautiful photograph of
Okay.
of a cinnamony, apple-y
Drink. Okay.
Yes.
So
yes.
the drink is the sex symbol on the front of the cover.
Exactly.
It's going to be
Yes.
the cover theme. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Right. I have to think about the next one because I don't want them all to be a drink every time. It's not.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not just about drinks. It's about a lifestyle and how wonderful life is after you say goodbye to
Right.
alcohol or lessen your relationship with alcohol.
And it's called,
Oh, did I not say?
I think you did,
It's
but I want
called
to say it again.
After. Thank you.
Okay. So AF,
After
alcohol-free.
alcohol-free AF, right? And then the concept is the beauty of life begins after saying
Yeah.
goodbye to alcohol. Yeah.
That's amazing. And the themes and the sections, I mean, you talked about some of the articles. Where do you see that going? What kinds of topics do you see kind of getting into? The food piece is one.
The food piece is one. I'd like to share more stories about people in the
Okay.
industry. I think there's a lot there. Every person has their reason for getting into this
Right.
space,
Right.
which are usually interesting backstories. And I think we're all on a similar path in terms of our goals, trying to help people grow a movement that is happening right now.
Right.
How can we make that happen and become more mainstream? And creating something beautiful and nice. So that's part of it. And then travel as well.
Okay.
So going to different cities. One of the questions on the survey was top alcohol-free cities. So
Okay.
we have a list of 4 that we'll start highlighting.
Okay.
What's
Well, I
going
won't
on
ask
in
you
those
to
cities.
give that away. So
Yeah, I
for
can't give
those of
them
you
away
reading.
yet.
And what have you found, like in terms of the cities or the people that you've been speaking to? Are you getting a sense of some of the? I mean, you and I probably live and breathe this more than maybe some of the people listening, or obviously those people who are kind of coming to it for the first time. What are some of the topics that you think are going to be of it? That are coming, like that, or that you expect some people are going to be wanting to see you write about. What are people going to want to see in the magazine?
I think one of the things that's growing quickly is events, travel again, but people
Okay.
who are running these events in
Yeah.
cities. There's not that much of it yet, but some
Like
of them
even knowing where to go.
knowing where to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know in New York, for
Helping
example,
them.
there's club. There's a bit more of that. Maybe
Yes,
like a lot
New
of
York
activities, but a lot of other cities have just had populations as well who are looking for choices. I was speaking to somebody on a trip I was just on from Kansas City, and I was kind of going on about, oh, you can do this and you can do that. I was like, well, not Kansas City,
Right.
but there is still community there. So I think bringing some of this to places maybe where it's a little bit newer, there's less of a maybe hub of community or discussions or influencers that are talking about it could be really helpful for people.
Absolutely. You're right. There's a community, but the need is not necessarily being filled in every city.
Often.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
In the major cities, yes.
Yeah.
But I guess there are a lot of pop-ups going around the country.
Well,
but
that's
you
where
need
online
something
helps.
maybe
I think
more.
people can go online to find kind of that long tail of folks that maybe have like-minded interests, like-minded journeys. But when you're in a place that's maybe less populated, you don't have that chance to just run into them at Spirited Away.
Exactly. I just meet
your
these fantastic people.
Your local
in the
curated alcohol-free retail store.
Exactly. We need that. We need it
Yeah.
everywhere. It's true. I mean, I live in a smaller suburban town, and I have a friend who's like, we should start a bottle shop, but I just don't know in these smaller towns if there's a market to
It's tough, I
justify
think.
that.
But-
yeah.
and-
But
What about, just to take that as an example, your local restaurants or your local environment? Like, are you finding any changes as that goes, or?
very slowly.
Okay.
Very slowly. even in the city, I mean, sometimes there's a great selection and
see, that's
sometimes
a good
not.
example, because I was trying to think of some of the things I've seen you write or talk about. You've gone on, I guess, journeys or tastings.
Yes.
Talk a bit about that.
So I've done a small series of videos called Mocktail Quest. That
Mocktail Quest.
I call it Mocktail Quest.
I don't know if it's science fiction or
right. We're on a quest for mocktails. Yes. So I go to restaurants and just
so you walk into a restaurant.
Myself.
Do you already know that they're going to have good drinks? Or are you going in?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, usually.
So first you're scouting them out, finding
Yeah.
out that they're legit. They're going to have something.
They'll have something. Yeah.
All right.
Usually maybe 2 or 3 things
Okay.
actually
So
on
I'm the
menu.
bartender. You're coming into a restaurant, and let's say you know that I can make. So I was talking to this guy, this really cool bartender, Derek Brown, who's well renowned, has a great cocktail bar in Washington D.C., and he was talking about some of the alcohol-free cocktails that he was making, and I was like kind of blown away just by the sequencing and the process he was talking about. So you go in, you're tasting them. Are you grilling the bartender? Are you finding out what he's using? Are you?
No, but I should be. It's much
You're just
less.
like, this is good.
I'm just like, I'm going to order a great drink.
All right.
That's phase 2.
Well, these might be some good guest writers, or at least
Yes.
some information that we can bring, and then maybe somebody will be reading that and can do something similar in their local town.
Right. And there are some amazing mixologists in the space, and that is a great story. That's true. I actually spoke with there was a mocktail or an alcohol-free beverage at the Emmys this year.
There was,
and I
I'm trying to
spoke
remember.
with the woman who
tell
created
that
it.
story.
I'm going to get her name wrong because I didn't plan
That's
this
okay.
part. Lauren Pyler, I think it is.
Okay.
And she ended up giving, I shouldn't give this away, maybe, but
Why?
she gave us I guess I can, a home version of the recipe to make.
Is it in your magazine?
It's not. I'm going to do a video.
What was the product?
Disappointment.
Who was the producer? I think I remembered hearing about that, but I don't remember what product that they were using or which maker they were.
All the bitters.
All the bitters, okay.
I don't know if there was another product in it. It was berry and sugar and
I think you're going to see a lot more of that
thing.
with celebrities having not just alcohol beverages that they might be partnering in, but alcohol free. Mm-hmm. There's the wine that came out, the alcohol free wine just this past week. Now I'm forgetting names, but lots of celebrities have various alcohol free drinks. Which one? Kylie Minogue.
Yes, that's right.
It's alcohol-free wine. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I think there are going to be a lot of endorsements.
So I think some of these
up.
events, I know at the Toronto International Film Festival, there was some stuff that we were involved in where it's becoming definitely, and they're seeing this in the industry and just more generally, less people talking about what is this and more about, in terms of not knowing anything, more in terms of, okay, I've heard enough about this. Now it's more how. Mm-hmm. How am I going to, what should I try, or how am I going to try this, or in what way? It's kind of evolving a bit.
Right. And how to be more creative with flavors.
Yeah.
I think as people accept it more, they become more creative with it. It was sort of like, ugh, what is this? Not quite what I'm used to thing. And the people are getting used to the idea of it and maybe adjusting their taste a little bit. And then working with the flavors that are there, and there is depth of flavor within these products.
I guess we can't say too much until the magazine comes out, because otherwise I'll start asking you about the results of the survey and some of the categories that you're seeing. So we'll have to have you back maybe after a couple of issues and see what people are saying. And I think it's like the things you're doing in the community, and also the magazine that's coming out. Certainly the first I've heard in terms of full print magazine dedicated to the space that helps more and more people know that this exists, share their stories, and try and kind of have the options and the choice to be out and socialize in an adult way, and not either just drink to go along to get along, or have to sit at the kids' table and have water and soft drinks. So thank you.
Exactly. You're welcome. And to know that you're not alone in this. If you're experiencing this and you're evaluating how you feel about alcohol, you are not the only one, even if you feel like it in your own circle.
Yeah, so it'll be fun to see After magazine come out and help tell that story. So thank you, Nicole.
Thanks
for coming to Madison.
Absolutely.
Thanks for sharing your story and being on Alcohol Free Radio.
Thank you so much.
Okay, take care, everybody. Well, we hope you enjoyed this episode of Alcohol Free Radio. We'd love to hear from you. Send us a message on social media or through email at hello@betterrhodes.com. Great to be here with you all together. Take care.